So I'm going to bring you through my project really quick. So for those of you who don't know, it's a platform called Improv-e, and it uses AI to bring life back into old photos or static photos for people with dementia and memory loss. So the question that I wanted to answer throughout the entire process is, how can I reconnect people experiencing memory loss or dementia with their personal history? And this presentation will detail the research and design decisions I completed in order to preserve the patient's sense of self. So for people living with dementia and their family members, the moment that they forget a part of their history or a fact about themselves, it can be really devastating. And Improv-e is built on the scientific link between eye movement and memory recall. So keeping this in mind, for this platform's users, accessibility is the most important thing. And in my research, I found that decision fatigue happens to be the biggest reason that people drop off while using new platforms. And I wanted to create a seamless experience that uses AI ethically. In order to do this, I created all of my images using Midjourney. I ran multiple revisions of every single photo I created to ensure that it was accurate and it was truthful to the person themselves. So Improv-e caters to two main users, the carer and the patient themselves. So throughout my presentation, I'll refer to the carer as either a family member or a nurse. It could be both. So for the caregiver, caring for somebody with dementia means that they suffer from decision fatigue, and they need a simple, accessible way to entertain and connect meaningfully with their loved ones. The elderly user needs an interface that feels effortless and not high-tech. They need enrichment that respects their age, so not coloring books and children's activities, and also allows them to be active participants without feeling tested. When I began my ideation, I started by exploring, through my research and interviews that I had conducted, I started by exploring very outside of the box concepts, but I quickly realized that they actually felt more like added extras rather than solutions themselves. So I'll just quickly run through them in that case. So the AI assistant or home pod could be like a friendly figure physically, like an Apple HomePod, that could act as a companion and show photos on repeat. The digital photo frame is more of a familiar traditional way to display photos and can be connected to your desktop or laptop. And then the photo upload prompts, I wanted to include prompts similar to how you'd find on a dating app or a dating website to reduce decision-making time for carers uploading photos. So I took the photo uploading prompt idea and moved forward with that. And this is just for context, but as some of you may know, I lost my father last year. It wasn't a dementia, but it was something similar. So during his time in hospice care, I found personally that nurses and staff didn't have time or weren't able to connect with the person beyond just them being a patient. So this led me to creating a whiteboard in my father's hospice room, detailing his love for music, ancient history, all that kind of stuff, to ensure that he was seen as a person and not just a patient. So I used this idea, took it forward. So during the new onboarding flow, the prompts will ask for specific traits to keep the AI faithful to the person themselves. So this will allow nurses to instantly bond over shared interests, and two, keep the AI on track. So with all that being said, let's see here. I'll bring you through my prototype really quick. Okay, so with all that being said, I'll bring you through the homepage sign up and photo upload flows on my website. So I intentionally kept the design and user interface simplistic, using soft colors, familiar language, and serif fonts to keep it respectful and accessible for both users. So on the homepage, I use promotional and informational language so that users know immediately what Improv-e does and who's it for. So these are some examples of photos that were created. I'll just go quickly through those for you. And I also used all family photos. So this one here on the right is my grandfather when he was a child. So basically the homepage explains how to use the platform, and you can also add sound as well as movement to trigger memories. You can hear that. Okay. So moving on to the sign-up flow, I kept it intentionally straightforward. It's predictable and sequential. It allows autonomy for the carer or the patient themselves to create their profile. And you can add basic information, and you can also add personality prompts. So these are what I mentioned before. It just keeps the AI on track. And if they had a specific trait about themselves, for example, this is an idea I got from my mom. This is what my granddad always used to do: jingle coins in his pocket while he was waiting around, standing around. And let me see. So then the profile page. This is basically your home for all things, in this case, Patricia. Nurses or family members could study up on this and gain knowledge on their interests, stories, etc. And you can write notes to each other. So like, I showed this photo to Patricia and she loved it, etc. So moving on then to the family archive. This is where you can view archives of memories throughout this person's life: children, family members, holidays, pets, anything you want to upload, you can upload. And you can create albums and folders to group information logically. And again, these are all family photos. So this one here is my mom, this is my dad. And then moving on to the uploading a photo flow. So again, it's very logical, it's straightforward. I found through my research that prompting AI can be intimidating to some people. So I added an AI suggestion box, which helps it be accessible to the user. So this is how that would work. And you can also click into photos like this. That is the prototype. Okay, so moving on to my user testing iteration. I'll start off with what users liked from the prototype. So all the testers who completed the study had a deep understanding of what Improv-e was and who's it for, with many saying it would also be useful for people outside of the dementia or memory loss space, I guess. One participant was very impressed with the sensitivity of the experience, saying it holds a clear ethical stance, which is rare in an AI tool, which is something that I wanted to keep the essence of. And the combination of traditional font styles and soft colors creates a familiar, respectful experience for users. So then moving on to some of the feedback that I got as far as the UX and UI. I received a lot of great feedback from everybody on this call and also people off this call. So I'll just go through it very quickly. The original onboarding flow before the one that you just saw was a little bit disjointed and it jumped too quickly from sign up to profile. What I did was I created a more linear, predictable flow, which I think definitely reduced the confusion and built trust with the user. And then I refined the language. So originally I had quite technical language, like bridging gaps, for example, and it was making it feel quite clinical. I refined all the language that I used to be more personal, staying away from generic or extremely technical language. So for example, instead of photo gallery, I changed it to family archive. And another piece of information, or sorry, feedback was that some users may be new or unfamiliar with AI prompting. So during the photo upload flow, like I had mentioned when I showed you, I created an AI suggestion box where it tells you what, or it suggests to you what to prompt and what to mention. As far as next steps, I think I'd really like to gather information from, or gather insights even from, real users. I think it being a bank holiday, I wasn't able to get as much feedback as I wanted to. So I'd like to get more feedback and implement that in my project. And I'd also like to, based on your prototype, I really liked your interactions. I'd like to iterate further with my interactions and improve them. For example, the interactive fields, etc. So yeah, thank you for listening to my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.